Hey everybody, it's Triple L coming in to talk about chapter 1014 of One Piece. And let me tell you, man, wowzers, the amount of things that happen, holy! Uh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, some things just catch me a little bit off guard here, and I got my ideas, but let's face it, the second page was the start of just what? And it just got me thinking about a lot of things. And I'm thinking maybe my memory's a little bit bad on some spots, but yeah. In this chapter, One Piece, Luffy falls into the ocean, which is unfortunate. He's probably pretty deep down. Kaido says something interesting. Kiku takes a really big hit. Kanjuro takes a big hit. Kinemon takes an extremely big hit. And Momo is saying weird stuff. So, overall, fun time. Now, mind you, in the grand scheme of things, One Piece is going to be about Luffy winning. I still think Luffy's winning. When Luffy falls into the ocean, honestly, what that really is saying is get ready, because there's going to be something crazy happening. And note what's going on with Momo right now. There likely is something big about to happen, because you can remember the things that the Sea Kings were saying. I think during the Roger flashback that conquerors or like a king will be born in a faraway sea and all that. There's all kinds of things going on here, and especially when you have Kaido saying that thing about Joy Boy, it's like, bro. The other thing too is that Chopper. Interestingly enough, Chopper's getting something cool here. So, we do have a lot here to go still. But the big thing is going to be, I think, next week, what exactly is going to save Chopper. Or sorry, not Chopper. Sorry. Well, Chopper will get something, but what's going to save Momo? That's going to be the big thing for next week. So we're going to walk through the pages because that's really where my thoughts are going to be restrained and ordered. So let's get into it. On the first page, the most interesting thing is someone actually. Well, I found it funny that Kaido actually says "gum gum" or "gummo gummo" out loud for realsies. But yeah, coding your blows with Conqueror's Hockey, and then Kaido says his technique has a lot to be desired, and then he says about Gum Gum being a technique. Overall, like, that makes sense to me, right? Luffy just figured this out. He hasn't figured out the best way of doing this particular thing. So I'm not. This isn't strange. Luffy loses to his villains a lot before he gets to win. Again, the big example is Crocodile. Luffy falling to the ocean is the big tell that he's going to come back stronger. Mind you, the guy's already running. He must be running on fumes because there's only so many times he can lose repeatedly. And I do think that this night isn't going to end without Luffy winning here. So it's not like Luffy's going to have a big recovery period. Regardless, I liked actually having Kaido say it out loud that the technique leaves a lot to be desired. I can't wait to see how that goes because, again, when Luffy falls, he'll come back a little bit more refined. Now, page 2 is the first big wham line. Seems like you couldn't be Joy Boy either. So that's really interesting to me. First, how does Kaido know about Joy Boy? Because he doesn't have he doesn't have anyone that can actually read those poneglyphs, unless he has some kind of weird ability going on. But if he had, he could do more. But seems like you couldn't be Joy Boy either. So like at this point, we understand things about Joy Boy. We understand that there's some kind of mechanism by which Joy Boy will return with his promise and that, and like what Joy Boy, what that ultimately means. We already have the inclinations, or we already have the ideas in the background that Joy Boy is a big deal. But seeing Kaido actually say that Luffy, it's a really powerful statement because he seems like you couldn't beat Joy Boy either. It looks like Kaido is looking for Joy Boy. He's looking for this thing that Joy Boy represents, and it seems when you have him like this that at some point he thought maybe Luffy could have been Joy Boy, or like when he's fighting him, he's looking for whether or not Luffy will rise to that level. Overall, it's really interesting, and now I'm very invested in what exactly Kaido thinks about this whole Joy Boy situation. Anyway, the rest of the page is just Kaido finding out about Momo, and he's going to go after Momo, and he's going to announce the whole outcome of the battle. Now, the next interesting thing for me is on page 3, where Momo is saying that he can't afford to die. So, Momo has taken a meaning from what he is reading, And I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm actually really curious as to what he's learned. I can't wait to see how he's internalizing it. And on page 4 is where we get the first big thing. That is, Momo starts hearing a voice. And what I'm really jumping on is, what is this? Who are you? Who is speaking to Momo? So this tells me it's a loud voice. And look, it's happening after Luffy fell into the ocean, right? My first guess are sea kings for or koi fish or giant koi fish. For some reason, something is arriving, right? Something is talking to Momo. It'd be funny if it's the voice of the of Onigashima, but that'd be incredibly stupid. Anyway, with having Momo react when this has just happened to Luffy, it's extremely interesting. And if I was to go through the gamut of what it could be, I'm thinking, what if Zoe shows up? What if the actual island Zoe shows up to help out the situation? They could save Luffy, or it could just be giant sea kings. There are so many possibilities here. Or is it a lurking legend? Nah, that couldn't be. I am extremely interested to see what is going to happen. It could also be, flat out, just a different kind of monster. I mean, you have Zoe, you have the Sea Kings. What if a dragon just comes out of nowhere and just be like, yo, I gotta help, right? I gotta do something here. It'd be very interesting. But this is the biggest thing that tells me that something unbelievable or something very One Piecey, something very whimsical is about to go down here. Anyway, page 5 or so, I believe, is the Chopper's attacking, and then you also see that Chopper has stuff sticking out of his back. Arrows, as we find out, Perospero is launching arrows everywhere. Yeah, no, seeing Chopper actually throwing a dinosaur around, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think we were gonna get a Chopper fight. But this is quite good. I'm happy. I hope we get to see some kind of conclusion. Look, I don't need Chopper to win this by himself. Give him some help, because Perospero is putting in a lot of work. Get him some help. And I think I'd be very happy to see him beat Queen. Anyway, with Chopper, we find out that Caesar might have been involved in helping him increasing the time limit to 30 minutes. But of course, there will be problems with that. And this is another example of One Piece's mechanism for power-ups. One Piece will gloss over travel time, and then in travel time, during that black box, you can usually get a lot of power-ups. This is how the power-ups for like Gear Second, Zura, and Diablo Jambe pretty much are justified. It's in the travel time. You never know what these characters are doing in travel time, and that's usually where they're going to have a lot of weird things coming in for the surprise factor. Anyway, the page after that is really interesting because we see that a gun comes out of Queen's mouth, and this chapter also shows something about Queen's neck, which I was really curious about, like, way back when. So I was happy to see that Oda continued it, although I'm still not exactly sure what's going on with Queen's Devil Fruit here. Anyway, the next double spread is pretty much telling us that Luffy has been defeated. We get some really good shots here of other people. You see Frankie's situation. You see Jinbei taking a hit as he punches Sasaki. Or is that Sasaki? Or is that... I'm already forgetting their names. Who's who? We do see Luffy drowning, which is scary. We also get shots of Big Mom. We see Robin and Brooks still teaming up. And we see both Sanji and Zoro being like, we're not joining you. So overall, it's a very busy spread, but greatly appreciated. What I gotta say now is going back to Queen. Like, Oda keeps just sneaking in this thing with Queen's neck here, and it looks so weird. It's gross. I wonder how this modification works. How did Queen get to a point where he can extend his neck by extending the vertebrae of the neck with machinery? It's just kind of odd. It's gross too, man. This level of modification to a transformation is gross. But I like it. But it's still pretty gross. This is extending the levels of... This is just extending the levels of what people can do with their devil fruits, but it's honestly just really, really gross. Like he's a cyborg dinosaur. That's pretty scary. I mean, that's probably also like the mechanism by which he launches stuff. It's cool to finally see this again because I was very curious about what's going on with this guy's neck. But again, it's cool to see like Chopper actually fighting Queen of all people. Like, come on, like that is so cool. Anyway, the next page is another important Momonosuke page. We have Kanjuro coming in, right? But Momo is saying, Kinemon, you have to tell everyone. So this is after being told that Straw Hat Luffy was defeated. So this has to be something. Momo must be picking up on something important, something that he's telling Kinemon to tell everyone else. That's amazing. I am only excited. Please, Oda, do not disappoint here. Now, after that, we go back to Kanjuro is Oden Redux. It's pretty much just just repeating the same trick again. The most unfortunate thing, of course, is that Momo actually bought it when you have Kanjuro coming in as the fake Oden. And unfortunately, again, like Kiku gets her second shot, but she falters once more against Oden. And it's just like, come on, man. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the same trick works again. Because this looks like a pretty brutal slash. Like when you have Kiku in Kinemon's arms, it's unfortunate. And then when you see what Kiku is saying, the lingering snow is finally melting, so I can tell the dawn is near. You know, I am really hoping that Kiku is tuning into a higher force, like some kind of thing, and that this isn't just delirium. I really want to believe Kiku's words on this one. Anyway, after that, Kinemon takes his shot at Kanjuro. It doesn't look like a fatal hit. Like, it's so hard to tell. Like, Kiku thought she took out Kanjuro earlier. But I like Kanjuro's dying words here. Potentially dying words. That it was the most appropriate that Kinemon gets to be the one that takes him out. Only because Kinemon was Kanjuro's best friend while he was on stage. Whether or not Kanjuro actually has some feelings about that friendship, leaves a lot to be desired, but he does see the significance of Kinemon being his best friend. And when he talks about who it would be most appropriate to close the curtain on his life, you know, even if the friendship isn't fake, that is still a big significance for Kanjuro. So I would be very interested in seeing what exactly he was thinking in his final moments, like an internal monologue. Because what we get here isn't the internal monologue, so I would love to just see how he felt about it, if Oda feels inclined to write it. Now, we go into the final spread where it's Kaido arriving, and then we have that really wicked Kaido smash on Kinemon's head. We also see that one of Kinemon's swords got destroyed right here. So did Kinemon just lose his head? Did his head just get squished into the rest of his body? When you have Momo watching it and crying, it's also very sad. We're also reaching we're reaching Wano as well. I can see the factories there. But yeah, with Kinemon, oh, I just noticed his second sword's also broken. It's pretty rough what's going on here. I really hope Kinemon is still alive, but I do want to point out there seems to be this crack in Buddy Guy's bat, so maybe the crack might lead into somehow Kinemon surviving here. But with a chapter with Kiku going down, this looks again like another moment of darkness, and it's always darkest before the dawn. That would be like the metaphor that you could really apply to Wano, darkest before the dawn. Because of that, I'm hoping that Kinemon lives. I'm hoping Kiku lives. I'm hoping everyone except Kanjuro lives, honestly. Just because the One Piece characters are so durable. It's really hard to tell when they're going to die. And with just the precedent of durability before, I do want to believe that Kinemon is just going to willpower his way through this. Anyway, overall, I think this is another big setting up the darkness. But right now, in terms of the big plot elements, we have Luffy's survival, and we have whatever Momo is hearing. These things have to be answered. Hopefully next week, it'll be answered, because Kaido is right in front of Momo. So please, I hope something good next week, man. I hope something good. And going back to that, we still have many fights going on. I really hope these fights don't get off-screen. I don't want just little updates. So while Luffy's out, I do think we need to hope that we get these other fights. So we need to get Frankie and Sasuke. We need to get Who's Who and Jinbei. I need to see what Robin and Brook are doing, because that would actually be an interesting fight. Chopper is ironically the only person I'd be okay with just leaving alone for a while, but I really want to see some good stuff coming out of those fights that those Straw Hats are getting. So let's cross our fingers and hope we get something worthwhile. Like Nami and Usopp got something worthwhile when it came to dealing with their captains. It was crazy, but it was still worthwhile. So I just hope everyone else gets that kind of attention. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. This chapter of One Piece is just a series of horrible things happening one after another. But when there's so many horrible things, a good thing has to be coming in the future. I'm so excited to see what happens next. Let me know what you guys think down below. And until next time, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.